Okay, what we want to do is add some content, and based on last week when I created my video on the wireframe and creating the div sections within Dreamweaver, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add content to that. Now, a couple things that'll help you out on this aspect if you looked and reviewed the previous video. If you utilize any background colors to help distinguish your sections, you want to remove those colors or add the color that you want for your color scheme at this point. You also want to go in, and if you added borders to help distinguish the sections, it's time to remove those borders if you're not going to use it. Now if I take a look at my existing site from last week, and let me go ahead and preview this in the browser. You can see I have a header section, I have a navigational section, I have a couple columns in here with a footer at the bottom, and of course what's happened here, I use color to help us distinguish the sections. I like doing that. It's not required to do it that way, but I use color, and once I have my sections laid out, then I'm ready to add content, and so this is where I'll start adding it and changing the color. Now, one of the things is that you got to remember when we worked with the wrapper, our wrapper is this page that basically has all this extra color. All our containers are held in here. Over here on the left and right hand side of the page is the body, as well as down here at the bottom below the footer. Notice how that is a white background. One of the things I suggest doing is adding a color or a image to that body, so that way it goes and relates to your color scheme as well. So we're going to do that eventually, is we're going to go in and modify that as to kind of add a little more visual appeal to your page. So the first thing I want to do is I want to modify my colors. I'm doing more of a golfing theme, so I want to use some greens, I'm going to use some grays, and it's going to help match it up with the actual images and logos I'll be working with. And so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to modify my styles that I have. Now you can open up your external style sheet and you can actually modify it here. So you can see here the header says background color green. Wrapper has a background color as well. So what I want to do here, you can do a couple different ways. I'm going to use the CSS designer so you get a good control over that aspect of it. So the first thing what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the header style. I'm going to come down here to the background color aspect. As you can see here, it says green. So what I want is I want to use a darker header, a darker green color. So it should fit exactly with what I'm working with. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in, modify this, and I'm going to type that in with the pound sign. Now you can also go in and search for it by clicking on the thumbnail. But when I worked for my color schemes, I'm going onto a website, I'm using it to figure out which colors work together. And again, you can see here it's like a little more of a darker muted green for that part. So now I'm going to go to my nav section and I'm going to change its background color. And I'm going to say pound, and I'm going to make it more of a gray color for myself. So I'm going to put in 555. When you're putting in duplicate numbers, you don't have to type in all 6 characters of hexadecimal. If they're all the same, just type in the first 3 as a shortcut for that. So in the main section, instead of being light blue, I'm going to have it a lighter gray. I'm going to do pound 99. And for the footer, I'm going to match that with my nav that's up here. So it's a darker gray on that part. And so here, let me go down to my background color and matching it up. I'm doing a pound 55 to match it up with that. Now, as you see here, we do have a couple sections inside here. We can manipulate the color later. And then over here on the left hand side where I have the red and blue, I'm not going to keep that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that area to add either images or other content, and I will eventually change that to fit with my color scheme. So what I'm doing here is I'm modifying this to fit to my color scheme I want. I will modify it later, but the key is to get the colors in where you want to work with. Now, second thing you're going to do, I was talking about adding a nice little pattern in the background and or color. So what I want to do here is I'm going to insert a new style that inserts a background image. Now, if you go online, you can search for seamless patterns, and you can find a lot of different designs that you can find to utilize. The key is to find the word seamless, because when you go in and you search for an image, when we work with a background image, it repeats that image, it tiles it going across and down. So what you want to do here is you want to create something that's more, you want to find an image that's seamless, so that way it looks like there's no distinct edges when it comes to the right edge, left edge, top, or bottom. I have an image that I'm going to use, and it's basically a background image of grass. So what it's going to look like here, let me open it up. It's just this image here, and it's just a bunch of grass for that part. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add this to my body section. So I'm going to click on my style, external style sheet. I don't have a body style, so I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to type in body, B-O-D-Y, and what I'm going to do here, once I press my enter key, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose the background image option. Right here, background image URL. You have to go in and you have to match it. Now, I've copied this image directly into my images folder that's found in the files panel. So I've already copied it over. Now what it's going to do is I need to find that, make sure you're going to the right folder. If you're going to a different folder that's not your site folder, make sure to stop, copy the images into your main folder first, and then insert the style or insert the image. So here's the BG2. What I'm going to do is click OK. By default it repeats. You can change some of the options down here where background repeat is. You can turn it off, but in this case we do want to add it. So let me go up here, do a file, save all, and I'm just going to do a simple run here to show you what I'm talking about. So notice how the grass is added in the body around the wrapper. So again, we're just taking a look how we're adding, changing our wireframe to change some of the colors, maybe add a background image for that. So once we get that changed, we can worry about the content. So now we can focus in on the content of our sections. And I like to divide the sections up into separate areas. So I would concentrate on getting the header done first, the navigation section, then my main and my footer. So I don't try to skip and do one here and then go back and finish up the header. Try to complete it all and work on that aspect of that. So this part of the video, we're just going in, I'm modifying some of the background colors. I'm modifying the body to add a little visual appeal to it, to go along with my color scheme and my golfing theme that I'm working with. And the other videos will show you how to add that content.